that feeling.
Mm.
We all know it, right? It's maybe 4 p.m. on a Sunday, the sunlight's starting to fade, and this heavy, sinking dread just descends. It's the mental chaos of the coming Monday morning. It's that realization that you're about to spend the next 24 hours just trying to catch up to a week that hasn't even officially started yet.
It's the universal pain point, isn't it? Feeling perpetually reactive. You're not, leading your week. You're just responding to whatever demands other people are placing on your time. And that psychological state, that feeling of overwhelm, that's precisely what this powerful framework we dove into today is designed to just eliminate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So today we are doing a deep dive into a very structured 4-step routine. It's articulated by Meryll Parnaso-Salbago. And this isn't just, another to-do list. It's a full system. It's designed to completely shift how you perceive the work week and grant you back that feeling of clarity and control.
Mm-hmm. Our mission here is to unpack this routine, to understand not just what the steps are, but why they have to happen in this specific order. The core premise she lays out is, well, it's simple, but it's also kind of revolutionary. Sunday stops being just a day of rest. It becomes the day of strategic preparation.
And if you can internalize that, the whole week transforms. Monday is no longer that frantic scramble to catch up. It becomes, as she defines it, the execution phase. Because all the thinking, all the strategy, that's already been done.
And what's so fascinating here is that this is a proactive system. It's designed to replace that panicked reaction with deliberate intention. It shifts your focus from, managing time to managing your energy and your priorities, which is exactly what a high performer needs.
Okay, so let's unpack that foundational concept, because I know what you, the listener, are probably thinking. When we say the real work begins on Sunday, that sounds suspiciously like an invitation to sacrifice a day off. So how does the source counter that objection, and how does this fundamentally change the psychological landscape?
That's the critical tension, and we need to address it immediately. She argues that this Sunday routine, it isn't about sacrificing time. It's about investing high-leverage time to prevent wasted, chaotic time later. If you spend, say, 90 focused minutes on a Sunday, you gain back hours of confusion and distraction during the week.
So the ROI is massive.
Exactly. And to drive this point home, she uses a really powerful analogy, the professional athlete. Just think about a championship team for a second. They don't just show up on game day and hope for the best.
Right. No, they spend days reviewing footage, practicing specific plays, visualizing success, all of that.
They prepare their mind first. Her framework views the work week as a high-stakes performance. You wouldn't expect peak mental performance on Monday if your mind is cluttered, tired, or you don't have a playbook. Sunday is the mental training session. It's where you load the momentum for the next 5 days.
I really appreciate that focus on momentum. It's about being preloaded. And she promises some immediate, really tangible benefits from this mindset beyond just, feeling less stressed.
Yeah, the benefits are compelling. She says that first, Monday feels like a continuation. You hit the ground running because the strategy is already set. Second, the week flows with a clear intention, meaning you're constantly moving toward your goals, not just batting away incoming requests. And third, your true priorities are crystal clear before that flood of Monday morning emails even has a chance to distract you. It's about achieving clarity before the chaos hits.
That clarity is gold. Okay, so let's dive into the inner architecture of the routine itself. The first steps are heavily focused on mental prep, not just list making. So we start with step 1, mental reset. What does a mental reset actually look like for someone who's typically stressed? I mean, how is this deeper than just taking a breath?
Yeah, and this is where Parnaso-Salbago really distinguishes her work from, generic self-help. The mental reset is structured reflection. It's designed to close the loop on the previous week. It involves looking back and asking 3 specific questions. She suggests journaling on them for 10 minutes. They are: what worked well, what was a struggle, and what unresolved mental debris am I still holding on to?
I see. That last question is crucial. It's about identifying the mental clutter, that one email you forgot to send, or that tricky conversation you had, the small failure that just keeps replaying in your head.
Precisely, because if you don't acknowledge and process that debris, it carries forward into Monday, draining your mental bandwidth.
Right.
This intentional reflection helps you categorize those thoughts. Either they need an action step this week, which we'll get to in step 2, or they need to be emotionally released. It sets a clean, zero baseline tone for the week ahead.
It sounds a bit like an internal diagnostic, right?
Yeah.
You figure out what systems broke so you don't just rebuild the exact same faulty week all over again.
That's a perfect description. You've diagnosed the problem, and now you have the data. Which brings us perfectly to the next step in the mental sequence. See, instead of jumping straight to tasks, she advocates for step 3, vision setting. And this has to come right after the reset. I was really intrigued by why she places the why step 3 before the how, which is step 2.
I was wondering about that non-sequential order myself. Why is reconnecting with your why more important than the practical what list, especially right after you've just reflected?
Well, because reflection shows you where you stalled out last week, and often that's because of a lack of motivation or maybe some kind of misalignment. Vision setting reignites that fuel. If you just jump straight to a to-do list after reflecting, you're just creating a list of chores based on past failures.
Ah. But if you connect that list back to a powerful purpose like a long-term career goal, a commitment to learning something new, personal development, then the tasks become meaningful steps. They're
Mhm.
not just obligations anymore.
That transformation is fundamental. She argues that vision setting provides the necessary motivational backbone. For you, the listener, this means defining a handful of high-level outcomes you want to achieve that week and making sure they align with your bigger goals. It turns an overwhelming list into a meaningful, goal-oriented plan. Without that purpose, your strategic planning, it just lacks gravity.
So, okay, after we've cleared the mental slate with step 1 and we've refueled the purpose engine with step 3, then we can apply that purified focus to the practical side. That brings us to the operational blueprint. Step 2, priority planning. What truly separates this Sunday planning session from the typical frantic list we all scribble down on a Monday morning?
The difference is strategic filtration. Monday planning is reactive. It's totally dominated by the urgent requests that just landed in your inbox. Sunday planning, because it's informed by the purpose you just set in step 3, is purely proactive and strategic.
So we're applying a really severe filter here.
Yeah.
We're only capturing the tasks that move the needle toward our stated why.
Exactly. Parnaso-Salbago encourages using a simple priority matrix, even if it's just a mental one. Instead of listing 20 things, you focus on identifying the 3 to 5 tasks that have the highest leverage. Those are the tasks that, if you complete them, would make the entire week feel like a success, regardless of all the smaller tasks that inevitably pop up.
And this is where the tools come in, right? I was interested to see she specifically mentions using the Todoist app in her source material. That little detail kind of grounds the abstract idea of planning into a concrete, repeatable system.
It does. It shows that structure requires reliable tools. Now, she uses Todoist, but the concept applies anywhere. For instance, she would probably use tags or filters during the Sunday session to make sure those 3 high-leverage tasks are clearly marked as, priority 1.
Right. I can even imagine her maybe time blocking those high leverage tasks right there on Sunday, mentally slotting them into her Monday schedule so they can't be displaced by smaller, urgent distractions.
That's the key application. By predetermining when the important work will happen, you eliminate the mental friction of choosing when to start on Monday. The decision's already been made. This pre-planning ensures the week flows with intention rather than chaotic reaction. It's the bridge between the mindset and the concrete action.
If we think about the totality of this routine so far, we've covered the reflection, the purpose, and the initial execution plan. But this still seems like a heavy mental lift for a Sunday. I want to challenge the premise again. Doesn't this deep strategic work actually increase the likelihood of burnout if it cuts into genuine rest?
And that's a valid concern. Parnaso-Salbago directly addresses it by making the final component, step 4, intentional rest, completely non-negotiable and productive in its own way.
Intentional rest, that sounds almost paradoxical.
Yeah.
Why is planning for downtime just as important as planning for work?
Well, she states it very clearly. Burnout is the enemy of focus. If the goal of this entire Sunday prep is to ensure maximum effectiveness during the work week, then mental and physical recharge is a strategic component of that effectiveness. If you skip step 4, you basically undermine all the gains from steps 1, 2, and 3.
So it's not about working more hours on Sunday. It's about making the next 40 hours maximally effective. But how does she define intentional rest? Is it just sitting on the couch?
Not necessarily. Intentional rest is proactive, not passive. It means scheduling activities that genuinely restore your energy, whether that's reading a book, getting outside for a walk, dedicating time to a hobby. Crucially, it means consciously avoiding that passive, low-quality rest trap.
The doom scrolling.
The endless doom scrolling, exactly. It tricks your brain into thinking it's relaxing, but it actually just drains your focus.
So the planning session allows you to ring fence your rest. You can say, okay, I've invested 90 minutes in strategy. Now I'm intentionally investing 3 hours in recharge.
Precisely. And when rest is scheduled, it's valued and protected. It contributes directly to the success of the execution phase. If you just wait for rest to happen passively, it often gets crowded out by chores or anxiety about the week. By getting the reset and the planning done early, you remove the primary psychological barriers that prevent truly restful downtime.
The beauty of this whole system is really the synthesis. It's not just four independent steps. It's a loop, isn't it? Reflection informs purpose, purpose sharpens planning, and then effective planning safeguards your rest, which in turn powers the next cycle of reflection.
It's a powerful engine for creating some really unstoppable momentum. You, the listener, are setting yourself up for success. You start the week feeling ahead, not behind. You move forward with clarity and control rather than drowning in overwhelm.
And that really is the core takeaway here. Mastering that Monday morning dread isn't actually about changing Monday at all. It's about strategically utilizing Sunday. It's about turning a day we used to worry away into a day of genuine empowerment and preparation.
It allows you to realize that you have the power to initiate that momentum yourself, which I think raises an important question for you about where your weekly momentum currently begins. Is it driven by the demands of Monday, or is it driven by the intention you set on Sunday?
If you start viewing Sunday as the day you win the week, you change the entire game. And we'll leave you with the same provocative thought that Meryll Parnaso-Salbago used to sign off her routine. P.S. When does your week start?